are just so pretty. So it's using a technique called Joseph's coat technique, and it's been around a while now, so I didn't come up with that technique, but I thought it'd be fun to do a video on it. It's a little bit of a messy technique, but you get some pretty cool effects with it. So these are pretty much all the supplies we're going to be using today. You will need a die cutting machine, and you also will need your heat embossing tool, and you're also going to need a brayer to roll out your elegant eggplant color. The sponge brayers will work, it just will take a little bit longer. I have this brayer, hard rubber brayer that I got at one of the craft stores, and I've had it for many years. I use this a lot, and I like it because it's the hard rubber and it's a lot quicker than with the foam brayers. But if you have the foam brayers, they will work also. So we're going to go ahead and get started on the card. Alright guys, so to start off, we're going to be using 3 ink colors. We're going to do Melon Mambo, Flirty Flamingo, and Sweet Sugar Plum. And you're going to need some craft sponges, and this was just a craft sponge. You can get them on Stampin' Up, and I just cut them into little triangles, and I reuse them. You just rinse them out, wash them, and even though they're stained with the ink, they still work fine. So what you'll do with these is we're gonna just open up our ink pads, and I also have right here a piece of very vanilla cardstock. That's just a piece of scrap I had. This measures 5 3/4 by 3 1/4, and it's large enough to fit 2 of the larger balloon stamps and 2 of the smaller ones on there. So you're just going to take your sponges, and I'm just going to kind of put them on top so I don't mix them up. Be careful you don't mix them up. So you're just going to take a little bit of each of the colors and just kind of put them on wherever, random circles of the colors, wherever you want to put the colors. And we're just going to go through and do this process over and over until you get your colors the way you like them. So there's your background piece. So you're going to either set this aside and let it dry, or use your heat tool and make sure you dry this. If you don't dry this, you're going to have embossing powder sticking everywhere. So I'm just going to go ahead and let that dry, and then we'll move on to our next step. So once your background paper is all dry, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some embossing. Now I have the Embossing Buddy. This was one of the best purchases I have made so far. It takes away all the static, and what you do is you just rub your Embossing Buddy over your workspace that you're going to emboss on, and it's great. Like I said, it takes away all the static, so your embossing powder sticks to just where you want it to stick. This is the Versamark ink pad here, and this here you're going to use to do your embossing. The reason why we use this is because it stays wet longer, so it takes your for your embossing powder to stick. What I always do is I get ready to immediately emboss, so I'll have a piece of scrap paper over here. You can use one of these, or I like to use just a sheet of regular computer paper. I fold it in half so I have the little crease, and then I have my embossing powder all open and ready to go. We're using clear embossing powder. So I made this big enough to fit 2 large balloons on there and 2 of the smaller shaped ones. So we're just going to go ahead and stamp these. These are the clear stamps, so they have the rubber backing behind them. So they stamp pretty well all by themselves. Then we're going to take this and we're going to just dump our clear embossing powder on top. And this embossing powder goes a long way, so you buy one and you'll have it for quite a while. So once we have this all done here, just kind of give it a couple of flicks. Now you're going to see my stamp when I press down. I got some of the edge of the rubber on there, so some of the embossing powder stuck there. That's fine because we're cutting it out anyways. And even if you don't have the dies, you can cut these out by hand. They're easy enough to cut out by hand. So we're just going to go ahead and heat these with your embossing tool. Can you see the powder on there? And it's going to turn it clear. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to just run it through my Big Shot and cut these right out. So once you have your hot air balloons all embossed, we're going to take our elegant eggplant, and I don't know if I've ever showed you guys how to open these. They're very simple. You'll see 3 little dots down here. You just take your thumb, you press in, and you press down, and it pops it right open. Very simple to use. So we're just going to take our brayer. Like I said, you can use the foam brayers. It just takes a bit longer to do. And we're just going to get this nice and inked up, and we're just going to go over the top of it. And we're just going to go over. You can use a darker color. I found that this worked well. I did a couple of different designs and inks to try this out on and see which worked best. This worked well. Black worked really well, but if you do black, just know that if you're using the foam brayers, that the black will stain the foam brayer. I believe it will stain this too. That black, whatever you use it on, it's gonna stay. Where these other colors here, you can just rinse them underwater. So once you get it all done, you're going to take a paper towel and you're just gonna rub the top of your hot air balloons. And you're going to get that really pretty color there. You'll see it's, look at how pretty that is. And that's all your colors that you did underneath. So I just love this technique. It's so pretty. I did a bunch of different examples last night, and I found that the more detailed stamps seem to work better with it. So I really liked using these because these had a lot of detail that was embossed. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut these out. Like I said, either with your Big Shot or a die cutting machine with your framelits. Or if you don't have the framelits, you can just hand cut them. And then we're going to go ahead and start to assemble the card. Alright guys, so now we're going to go ahead and start to assemble our card. Now you're going to need A2 card base of pink pirouette, which A2 is 5.5 by 4 1/4. So this is your card base, and then you're going to take a piece of basic black cardstock. This is measured at 5 1/4 by 4, and I've already gone ahead and put some snail adhesive on it. So you just want to line that up with your card base. And then on top of that's going to go another piece of pink pirouette. And this one here is measured 5 by 3 3/4. And we're just going to layer that on top. And what I've done is, to save some time, is I've gone ahead and I put Stampin' Up! Dimensionals on the back of all of my balloons. So we're just going to take your balloons and you're just going to put them on your card wherever you would like to see them. So I kind of did it this way. And then what I also did was I took the small cloud and the big cloud, and I cut these. First I stamped a whole bunch of them with Versamark, and I used white embossing powder, and then I cut these out with the Big Shot machine or your die cutting machine. So I think I've got 8 of these. So we're just going to go ahead and just put these on your card. You just put them wherever you want to put them, but you're going to leave a little bit of room right here for your happy birthday banner. So So once you have your clouds on your card the way you like them, we're going to set the card aside, and I'm going to show you another quick embossing technique. I'm going to take the saying from here, hope your day is on cloud 9, and I just want the happy birthday. Now a lot of people cut their stamps. I don't want to cut my stamps. It's just a personal preference. You could cut that in half, or what I've done is I've taken a piece of just Scotch tape, taped off the area I do not want stamped. So I have my happy birthday showing, but the rest of it is taped off. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use some clear embossing powder, and we're going to use it over your Melon Mambo stamp. So what you're going to do is you're going to need your Versamark, and you're going to need your Melon Mambo ink pad. And the first thing you're going to do is we're going to go ahead and stamp your happy birthday in the Versamark. So just go ahead and stamp that right up in the Versamark. And then once you get it nice and inked up, you're going to stamp it on your Melon Mambo. And then what we're going to do is peel this piece of tape right off of here. And then it's going to leave your image nice and clear, so that will not get stamped down. So you'll see that only the happy birthday has the ink on it. So then we're going to take your strip of, this is Melon Mambo. This is cut at 3 1/4 by 2 3/4. And we're going to stamp the happy birthday right along the edge here. Okay, so you'll have that nice and stamped, and then you're just going to go ahead and put your clear embossing powder over that, and then we'll just go ahead and emboss this up. So it'll look like, and I already had done the stamping buddy, embossing buddy on there, so don't forget to put your embossing buddy on there so you don't get any of the powder sticking elsewhere. So I'm just going to go ahead and heat that up, and then I'll show you how I put the little flag on it. Okay guys, so I've got my little happy birthday banner, and it just adds a little touch when you stamp it and then emboss it. It's so neat. So you could do this with any color ink. Just make sure you use your Versamark first, and then whatever color ink you want, and you'll have it embossed in that color. So I've just gone ahead and I've added some dimensionals on the back here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tag, and I'm going to kind of put a slice in it in the middle to about the Y. And then I'm just going to snip off the ends so that it forms your tail. There is a punch through Stampin' Up! That you can order that does this. I don't have that punch yet, so this is what I do. And then it creates your tail. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put this right here up at the top. And then I used on the balloons, you can see the little jewels there. I used the basic jewels rhinestones. I used the smallest ones, and I just took my tweezers. You can use your bone folder. You can use whatever you have to get these off of here. And I just use my tweezers, and then I just put it where the little reins of the balloon meet. So, and that's all I've done. It's such a simple, cute, pretty card. So I really like the Joseph Coat technique. Give it a try, you know, be experimental with it, see what you come up with. So I hope you enjoyed.